success next year, I'm going to try one more time to get something going. And I have a few students who are really interested in supporting this and want to see this turned into something more formal and proper one, so that they can do it and get credit for it.
Yeah.
You know, and two, just so that it's something that more students can benefit from. But, it'd be really nice to be in a place where there was some more openness and interest in going down these paths of like looking at food and its importance in our life and the quality of food and what we're eating and our connection to the earth and being out in nature and the quality of having sometimes less to do and pausing and creating more space in our day and moving the body and having an embodied experience and dealing with conflict mediation and things like this that just seem like kind of would be nice to, but not essential activities and or the activities of a privileged few that you get to do once you kind of graduate from college and are out in the world. You have the luxury of going to a yoga class, but that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in kind of bringing these to everybody. That these qualities of meditation and mindfulness and embodiment aren't just saved for a privileged few, but are actually things that are essential to education, and understanding our mind and managing our emotions.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel that aligns with like your school and then the UWC kind of goals and values?
Well, I mean, I had thought it aligned very well, but I think it really actually depends on school to school what the values of the people are who can create space for this to exist. I mean, I do think, you know, there was a volunteer here a few years ago who did a really amazing job with running a lot of optional mindfulness sessions, and his sole role was as a volunteer was doing this, and he impacted a lot of students, and even to this day students talk about his presence on this campus. And you know, sometimes I feel like maybe I've failed and that I haven't been able to do this, but I have to remind myself he also wasn't a house parent and a counselor and having a full schedule. And you know, in some ways there is only so much a human can do sanely and still try to manage a personal life and sleeping and so there's a part of me that wishes, like, if I had an ally like him, and I've met him and he's a remarkable human being, and sometimes I feel like if I just had one other person like him on campus to do this with, like there could be such positive waves and ripples, and I do think there's space for it. I just think that there's not institutionalized space for it. There's space to like do what I want in the free time that I have and offer things and let it be invitational and optional, but that's very different from where concepts of mindfulness and training of the mind can actually come into a system like the IB that's already quite set, you know, or CAS requirements that feel already kind of, there is some room within CAS, I think, and Trevenis, as we call them, for this to exist. But again, it would only touch a small subset of students, you know, maybe 20 to 30 who would be interested in this as their outlet, which is great impact. It's not the only impact I'm interested in having and conversation I'm interested in having around this. So yes, the UWCs, I think, are ripe for this. And I think the more that we have mental health crises on our campuses and see how needed understanding mental and emotional frameworks is, the more I think we will go in this direction. But I think it's taking, unfortunately, some big incidences for people to say, wait a second, what's going on really? And why is what we were doing in the past not still working? And how is the global context changing such that our students are needing new skills to cope with life? That maybe we're not offering in as formal or institutionalized or educational of a way that we should be offering as a priority. And I mean, just to say, like, the personal social health education, this is the second year it's been going. So I think that speaks to the fact that new things are starting to try to fill this gap that weren't here even just 2 years ago, which is huge.
Yeah. How about your team? Does your team kind of support you on these processes, or is it still kind of they're still also needing to be aligned or kind of change mindset?
Yeah, I not so much. I mean, it's while a few of them may want to come and show up for a yoga class if I'm offering it, that's kind of where it ends. Like they're willing to partake of the experience, but there's not yet and part of it's just that, like, you know, I think it takes the time to be on this journey. It's very hard to be an advocate for something that you yourself don't know intimately. And I at this point know intimately how much mindfulness and meditation and things like yoga or qigong or tai chi or martial arts, when done well, can change the brain and can heal some pretty big gaps in emotional intelligence for people. I've seen it and I've worked with it for many years. So there's a part of me that is so bought into this that you know, I have to really take a step back and remember that it's taken me a 15-year journey to get this buy-in. of hours of practice and work that I know not everybody is going to have the openness and willingness in their life to put in. And unfortunately, this is not the easy path. It's a lot easier to go to a psychiatrist, get a diagnosis, get a pill, than it is to sit down and meditate 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day. And one may take a lot longer to see any beneficial results and to have the person actually understand that it's working. And students today oftentimes want a quick fix and aren't satisfied with needing to do longer term daily effort to change their circumstances or their perception of things.
Yes, exactly. Same thing in the academics. They want to study the quick fix for the academic results. Yeah.
So you get it.
Just one last kind of just feeling for everything. So where are you, or how do you feel? Let me think about how I want to put this. What is it that's going to that keeps you there for this next year? Because I know you said you were kind of on the fence. So what is it specifically that's caused you to change your mind and decide to stay?
Well, I have a very cute stray puppy that has wandered into my life. And I would like to keep spending time with him here. I mean, that's partially a joke, but it's partially also, I am aware of I guess I've become aware of how much of a steep learning curve there can be in a first year. And, from hearing other people's stories, it sounds like a lot of people have rocky first years that don't, where they don't achieve a lot of what they want to achieve. And there's a lot of, adjusting to the context and the new expectations and dropping of old systems we've worked within, whether we've come from systems that have been better functioning than this system or worse functioning. It still takes time to kind of drop the expectations of, wow, the place that I used to be in would do it like this, or we would start meetings with meditations, and to drop those. And so there's a part of me that's just trying to actually implement a virtue of being patient in my life and sticking with something for the sake of the students and continuity for the students. And I believe that what I'm offering has value, and I've seen it have success with quite a number of students. And I believe that's got to be worth something. And I think I also have a chance to learn a lot more in my second year and to really leave in a strong position to carry on this work somewhere else with more confidence in what I bring. And to feel fine to leave this place in hopefully good standing for moving on with this work with whoever they pick next, to hopefully be the right fit. I think I'm just have trust in that. So it's a combination of just trying to, understand what I could possibly learn and build greater tools within myself of, adapting to systems that maybe I'm not, are not totally aligned with my own value system yet, and how I can be flexible and softer within those systems and learn what there is to learn and help where I can.
Perfect. Cool. Do you have any other thoughts, input, things you want me to kind of think about as far as where you're at, where is the organization at, how you relate?
Yeah. The one thing that I would say was really powerful this year was we had a visiting consultant. Her name is Libby Mason, come from Pearson College, and she's taking a sabbatical from Pearson this year, and she's visited several different UWCs in a consulting position to help build residential life. So she came to, I think, Robert Bosch here, Changshu, and UWC Japan, ISAC. Okay. And that was really powerful. It was really powerful to have somebody moving through the different UWCs, connecting people to each other, making contacts, sharing best practices, identifying potential blind spots with a broader vision and from a residential perspective, not from a head perspective. I think the heads do this a lot where they kind of move through the UWCs for different meetings, but it's very different to have a pastoral care person do it. Yeah. And I would just say that, from whatever you're looking at in terms of team building, I think sometimes we can easily forget that we have the potential to be a broader global team and to connect people. And for me, the UWC Counselors Conference in Adriatic was huge for this. And you can talk to your counselor on campus too about this because he was there.
Yeah. He came back saying really good things about it.
Yeah. So, the ability to, and I got a lot of, there's a chance I might have just dropped out after first term. Do I not have more kind of, values of sticking with it for the students with how much I was struggling? But after that conference, I felt really bolstered and supported, and like I wasn't completely insane for what I was seeing and the trends I was seeing, and to be validated by other people in a similar position. And I think we may need more of that than we understand at the UWCs. We may need more cross UWC teams that can connect and share best practices and share struggles and